Hey guys, I'm Tyler Jackson.
And I am Taylor Larson.
And we have a very special guest, Jack Beckman. How's it going, Jack?
It is fantastic. Hard to complain, boys.
Well, you are just about ready to kick off 2016. You just got back from Phoenix from doing some training. How'd that go for you?
Yeah, we actually had a 4-day test session out there, and we actually drug the Infinite Hero Dodge out to Gainesville in December after the season ended last year. We made 8 runs out there, and we really just wanted to get a direction on new parts and pieces before we went into the Phoenix preseason test, which we just concluded last week. So we actually just stayed with last year's chassis. I mean, that thing was so good, consistent, and quick that even though we built a brand new chassis in the off-season, we elected to stay with last year's version. And in Phoenix, it went 3.895, 3.894, 3.880. We had a couple other runs where we actually even had quicker numbers early, and they were planned shut-off runs. So there was no reason to think that thing wasn't as good or better than at the end of last year. And then on the last run, the thing wheel stood at about 300 foot, and when it came back down, it bent the car. And we thought maybe we could straighten it out, do some things in the pits, get it back into shape. And once we got a good close look at it, I think it will be fine if we need to run it as a backup car, but it was just more prudent to unload the new car. And we got it to run a 392 on an early shut-off run, which probably would have been about a 3.89. So I do feel confident going into Pomona. I'm upset we bent our good car, but I think the new one's probably going to prove to be just as good, maybe better eventually.
Yeah, and that was kind of an interesting thing, seeing you do that wheel stand about 1,000 foot, or no, well, not 1,000 foot, about half track. So what caused that, and what goes through your mind when something like that goes on?
Well, I'm going to tell you, in 1,500 runs in a nitro funny car, that's never happened. So I would say a lot of things went through my mind, probably most that I couldn't repeat on air here. First thing that you think about as soon as you lift off the throttle is, God, I hope this doesn't hurt when it comes down. And it didn't feel that bad. But remember, on a funny car, you're sitting basically between the rear tires. Mm-hmm. So you're probably not going to feel the violence that you would if you were in a dragster doing a wheel stand. And obviously landed hard enough to hurt the car. And as far as the cause of it, if you look at the slow-mo of the run, the Phoenix track's got a couple dips in it down low. And to me, what it looks like is, as the car is driving up off the dips, it just kind of is that perfect storm where that's the part of the run where we're really putting the clutch and the power back in. And a lot of times, wheel stands are almost caused by a lack of power. You don't have enough torque to keep the tires slipping. They hook up in a wheel stand. But I think in our case, it was probably the opposite. I think we were pushing hard. We were very aggressive. The track was in fantastic shape, and it, like I said, just that perfect storm. Once the front end came up about 3 inches, maybe if it was an average run, it would have hung there and settled back down. But because we were really standing on the tune-up, it just drove itself right up onto the wheelie bar.
Yeah, I was when I saw that a few days ago, that was just crazy, and I was going to ask you about that, so I don't have to now.
Yeah, it's hard to have a point of reference. There's a lot of things that you do in these cars that happen every run. There's some things that you do that happen frequently, maybe once every weekend that you're out running, and there's some things that almost never happen. Spinning the tires, that happens fairly often. Shaking the tires, you get that enough times in a season that you have a fairly good mental program on how to react and respond accordingly. But a wheel stand, that, like I said, it's the first time for me in a nitro funny car. It's happened in some of the sportsman cars, but nothing that was accelerating this hard. So it's hard to have a set program to respond to that. I just remember all of a sudden the horizon disappeared, and I had a face full of injector. I thought, this doesn't look right.
We know you have to go pretty soon, so just quickly, what's kind of your outlook on the 2016 season? Of course, we're starting this week, obviously. Any challenges, good things, bad things you kind of are thinking about heading into the season?
Well, it's interesting because last year, we finished second. We had a phenomenal year. We won more races than anybody. We set the world record 4 different times, doubled up at Indy. We won the Traxxas shootout plus the U.S. Nationals. And I think by anybody's metric, you could say that the Infinite Hero team had a career year, and yet we didn't win the championship. With the countdown reset, we instead of having a 15-round lead over Del Worsham, we had a 3-round lead once the countdown started. And that team, the Coletta Motorsports guys, they just did phenomenal in the countdown and wound up ahead of us at the end of the year. But I really can't see any reason to change our philosophy or our approach. I think the only thing that bit us was the countdown reset and the fact that that team just did so well in 4 of the last 6 races. So I just feel like if we can pick up where we left off, we're probably going to make it pretty tough for the rest of the cars all through the year. And you never know. I mean, in nitro racing, especially with a funny car, you don't know if your last win is your last win. We could go out there and win 10 races this year. I'm pretty confident we're going to win at least a few, but you never know. It's nice to start the season with the level of confidence that I have. We have had no changes to the crew personnel. You've got Jimmy Prock, John Medal, and Chris Cunningham. We're really the only nitro car out there that has 3 crew chiefs. And don't tell anybody, because I'm not complaining and I'm not giving any of them back. And then all 7 of the mechanics came back. So it's nice to have that continuity. And then Terry Chandler, who funds our car, it's not sponsored by Infinite Hero. We let Infinite Hero use our car to help raise funds to take care of the soldiers coming back, the injured vets. And maybe that's the thing that helped me keep my sanity last year when there was so much pressure on the championship, is knowing that whatever we were doing on the racetrack, once that car came back to the pits and we're raising money to help these injured vets out, I've watched it change some lives, and that's a really cool feeling. I'm a veteran, and that's near and dear to my heart. And every run, same as we did last year, every run I'm going to take probably 15 of these challenge coins. And for the folks that have been in the military, they would understand it. Let's say you're the 101st Bomb Disposal Unit. You would have a coin minted that had your unit's insignia on it and slogan, and you use those to trade with other soldiers out there. Well, this one represents Infinite Hero, and for the first time in the 3 years we've done the program, and my wife and I helped design this, it's got the funny car pictured on the backside, so it's a really cool deal, and it's a bitchin' souvenir for the fans. And anybody that comes by, or you can go online to infinitehero.org for a $100 donation. And by the way, that money goes to help the injured vets. You get a coin that's gone down the racetrack. So it's a very unique souvenir, and it's a win-win because I know it makes the fans feel like they're part of the team, and then they have the knowledge that they're actually helping out an injured vet, whether it's brain injury, PTS, or physical injuries. That, these folks that are coming back from combat duty, if you think about it, what they really want to do is just be normal again. And for some of them, it's going to be very different than what they were before they went in the service. So to be able to give them a hand to start that process feels pretty rewarding.
Mm-hmm. We think it's really, really cool that you do that. I mean, I really, really do appreciate that. And
it's, no matter who your sponsor is, like I tell people, if you're sponsored by an alcohol or tobacco company, a lot of times these folks don't even use those products, but they're supposed to speak well of them and endorse them. Let me tell you, I have no problem speaking with credibility and sincerity when it comes to the Infinite Hero Foundation. It's something that's designed. Oakley started up the program, and they just said, you know what, there has to be a better way to help the injured vets. There's so many of these nonprofits out there that are really doing great things for our vets, but sometimes they become a victim of their own success. They start fundraising, they got to hire administrators, they've got to design programs. Infinite Hero says, wait a minute, let's stop that. As of right now, we've got one person on payroll. The whole grant board are volunteers, and it's a mix of former military and civilian people, so we have an open perspective and multiple viewpoints. And we'll take pre-existing programs, so we don't have to spend money to come up with them and maintain them, and we will issue grants to those programs so that money goes straight to helping out the injured vets. And the nice thing is, every penny of that has to be audited and accounted for. And if they work to our satisfaction, we'll issue another grant. If they don't, we're moving on to other things that we think are going to help more vets.
That is really awesome. I did not know that. That is spectacular. Now,
Yeah, and I'm sorry to interrupt, but you just said you didn't know about this. I think maybe the intangible and maybe the most important thing that we're doing with our race team is increasing awareness of what Infinite Hero is. Because I love when people say, tell me a little bit about this. And you get to tell them that this is a fundraiser. Not a penny of the money donated, not a penny of Infinite Heroes operating costs go into running that race car. Terry Chandler, who's a woman with a huge heart and the financial resources to do things that she loves, takes care of funding the Make-A-Wish car that my teammate Tommy Johnson Jr. drives, and then every penny of our Dodge Charger with Infinite Hero on the side. So we can use it to inform people and instruct them and let them know you can make a difference. And I got to tell you, the neat thing is, any race you come to, you come up to me in the pits, hand me $100, I'll give you a coin that just came out of the race car. And what we recognized last year is there was a ton of people that might not have been at a certain race and wanted a coin. We said, okay, just go on infinitehero.org. You can make the donation there, and then we'll send you the coin. So it's been a nice way to reach out to our fans and to some people that weren't necessarily drag race fans, just wanted to help out, and it's helped bring them into the fold of the racing community.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, absolutely. I was reading about that a couple weeks ago, and that's how you take one down the track every lap.
Well, now let's do the math on this. Last year, not counting testing, we probably made about 160 runs, and I sold 1,700 coins. So that's better than 10 a run on average that the fans were purchasing. And a lot of times we'd go out and smoke the tires, and I said, you know what? Let's take those coins for another ride. I'd really like to give somebody a 300-mile-an-hour coin coming out of here. So the fact that we were able to average that much throughout the year, and that meant $170,000 to help the veterans coming back, that the folks that gave more than they needed to give. You know, I signed up for the military, and I was fortunate I didn't have to go into combat. Mm-hmm. And a lot of these folks are going in for education, to have career opportunities to take care of their families, and then they find themselves in harm's way, and they're coming back changed for life. I think it's the least that we could do to give them a helping hand.
Yeah, and that's absolutely just astonishing. Now, we saw an interview. Well, I don't know if it was an interview. It was more of just kind of it was a video that NHRA had posted, and it had said you were talking to Chris Karamesini. Now, what was that like? Because it was kind of interesting hearing his stories and stuff. And what was that like for you?
I think what you're referring to is in Chicago. We did a neat deal where Matt Eilis, who's a production guy and cameraman, just hopped in the passenger seat of the Greek's car, and we drove around the pits, and we just chatted for a while. And for those that don't know, Chris Karamesina's first drove a nitro car, I think in 1955. Chris Karamesina's was in the United States Army and served during the Nuremberg trials at the conclusion of World War II. And Chris Karamesina's is still driving a top fuel dragster today. He's one of the baddest hombres on the planet, and he's just a hell of a nice guy, and I'm proud and humbled to consider him a friend of mine, and I love the fact that I get to hang out with folks like that. A lot of times people ask, what's my proudest accomplishment in drag racing, and hands down, it's the fact that people like that I can consider my friend.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, that is absolutely really, really cool, I think.
Yeah, you know.
I got tons of cool buddies, guys. You ought to hang out more often.
Well, I'd like to. I'm actually going to be at the U.S. Nationals this year, so I'll actually get to come up and talk with some of you guys. It'll be kind of fun. Lots of fun.
Listen, if it goes like it did last year for our team, it'd be really fun for us.
There you go.
That was just a career weekend. You know, to win Indy, I had runner-up twice at Indy. I had also won 2 shootouts there. But it's not the same thing. And then to win the shootout on Sunday and come back on Monday and get to double up and win the race itself. It's almost more than you can imagine. And we really ran the table. We set low ET, qualified number 1. Under the heading of what you would define as a perfect weekend as a drag race participant, it doesn't get any better than that one.
Mm-hmm. So with that being said, is that probably your favorite memory, or you got any other favorite memories?
I have a bunch of them. It's like saying, what's your very, very, very favorite food? God, I don't, man, there's a bunch of them. But, yeah, I'd have to say that doubling up at Indy is probably one that would be nearly impossible to match, let alone top.
Yeah. Incredible, we talked to a lot of...
I highly recommend it. Yes, if you ever get a chance, double up at Indy.
Completely. Yeah.
First, get a fuel funny car.
Yeah,
there you go.
That's...
So real quick question. What do you recommend? Because I personally, well, actually both of us, we would love to someday be able to get into running a nitro car. Whether it be funny car or top fuel. Well, I guess that's it. But what do you recommend to people who really want to, fulfill that dream?
Yeah, good question. And maybe I'll back it up a little bit. People say, how do I get to where you are? Well, you could emulate every single thing I did to get here, but without some good fortune along the way, you may not get the same result. So I guess the first thing is there really just has to be a burning passion. And I think if there is, you'll find a way to make it happen. Good example of that, Leah Pritchett, who's driving top fuel this year for Bob Vandergriff Racing. Leah came to the Frank Hawley Drag Racing School when she turned 16, and I signed for her Super Comp license. And you could tell she just had a burning desire to do this. And she's never given up. And I think if you talk to her, she'd say there's been a lot of frustration along the way, and here she sits in a full-time top fuel ride. But she worked for that. Mm-hmm. She just never gave up and kept plugging away at it. And I think the common denominator with nearly everybody that's in that situation where they could say they've achieved their dream is that they were just so passionate about it and never stopped working for it. But maybe it didn't seem like work, because when you have that sort of passion, in my particular case, I raced a sportsman car for 21 years. And I never looked at that like work or paying my dues or, gosh, if this pro thing never comes about, this is all going to be a waste of my time. I loved every part of that. Mm-hmm. I've still got my 68 El Camino that I made my first drag strip run with in 1986. I've got my Super Comp car that I won the World Championship with in 2003, and that just went in the NHRA museum. But I'm telling you guys, I loved every moment of the journey. And if the pro racing went away, I'd go back to sportsman racing because of my passion for it. So I can't really give you any specifics, mm-hmm. but if you're really, really passionate about this, you're going to figure out the best path for your own personality.
Oh, okay. Well, that's really good advice, and that gives us somewhere to look. Cause,
Well, wait a minute. Come to think of it, I do have a good recommendation. Win the lotto. That's guaranteed. When you got $200 million, I can guarantee I can get you a fuel funny car ride.
There you go. Hey,
it's that simple.
I'm all for that. I would not be complaining. So yeah, we've been looking. I've been hoping and trying to figure some ways and trying to get an idea of what to do. And so it's nice to have someone who helps you and gives you a little.
I will give you a recommendation, and it's the path that I chose. I didn't have a rich family or a famous last name, so I didn't have those connections. I wasn't part of that inner circle to network that way. Mm-hmm. And I decided at one point, okay, the offers aren't coming to me. I've got to make my resume better. And I went to the Frank Hawley Drag Racing School and upgraded my license from Super Comp to Top Alcohol Dragster. And I tell you, I love the program so much, I wound up quitting my job and taking a full-time position at the drag race school. But I think maybe if I look at all of my career and say what was the single best decision that I made to get in a fuel ride full-time, it probably was going to the drag race school to learn the right way to do everything, to get that license. And I think what that did is it gave me a good line on my resume to take to some of these car owners, but it also showed them I was motivated enough to spend my own time and money to go get this license.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, okay. Well, that's definitely a good direction and helps point us in somewhat of a good direction. So, well, not somewhat, but a good direction. So it's better than we've gotten just kind of guessing, so that's awesome. So, real fast, what was your first class as a drag racer? Was it, because they have high school drags, they have sportsman, pro, super pro?
Yeah, right. It was 1986. I was stationed in New Mexico. I think I was an airman first class in the Air Force at the time, and I took my 68 El Camino out to Lubbock Dragway, which was 100 miles away, and ran their bracket program. Mm-hmm. And I would highly recommend everybody start there. Everybody. In fact, I just did a video piece with NHRA. Amanda Busick's going to be one of their on-air personalities and do a lot of their social media video stuff. And she brought her stock sedan out to Irwindale Drag Strip, and we just kind of did the Drag Racing 101 program. And I think the wonderful thing about drag racing is that you literally can bring your street car out there and compete. It's not like you can go to Talladega, in your 73 Dodge Coronet with a 340 and go race against people in the circle track. But you could take that same car to your local drag strip, pass a quick tech inspection, and you're running it next to other people that night. And I think that's a wonderful way to get your feet wet and start networking with other people and figure out the direction that will work for you. And for me, it was honing my mechanical skills, working on my driving skills, and maybe most important, meeting a lot of people and asking their advice on stuff. And, there's a lot of bad opinions, but there's a lot of wonderful people out there with good information to help get you pointed in the way that's going to work.
Right. Well, and that's like, like you said, you can take your stock car out there. And I did that last year. I took it out. I had a 99 Chrysler 300 stock. Nothing was done to it. And I brought home the championship that year.
There you go, man.
And so...
And you know what? I think that's a wonderful way to do it. The other nice thing about a stock car is you don't need a trailer. You don't need a tow vehicle. Exactly. You don't need a whole lot of extra tools and parts. And if you're not an idiot with it, you probably aren't going to abuse it too much at the racetrack, and you can still drive around. And it can be just as competitive as a guy that's got a much car, because bracket racing lets you predict dial-in on the car, and there's a handicap starting system. So it really is not about money, and that's where you really start to hone your skills.
Yeah. Well, that's like, like you said, you don't have to have a tow vehicle or anything like that. And so we'd drive the car out there on Friday night out to our drag strip here in Billings and race through Sunday, stay out at the track, race till Sunday, and then come home Sunday night. And now our season begins in May up here in Montana, and I just bought a 66 Nova and that we're going to fix up and run it. So
see, it sounds like you're already taking the right couple of steps to get started. I got to give you a pat on the back and kudos for that.
Sweet, thank you. And
I hate to say it, our drag race season never ends. It's 81 degrees out here in Southern California right now.
Oh, boy.
Sorry. So I shouldn't have said that. Sorry, guys.
Well, that's okay. Well, I would much rather be racing right now than... I mean, our weather right here, surprisingly for this time of the year, is running 64 degrees, which is amazing, because normally we have, 3 feet of snow, so not complaining.
Well, I'll tell you the nice thing about living in the climates where there is an off-season, where you do have a actual winter, is you really get a chance to kind of freshen your stuff and go back and get a different perspective, maybe save up a little more money if you want to enter more races. In SoCal, that's a tough deal, because really we can race year-round. A lot of guys will tear their stuff down right after the World Finals, which is the last race of the NHRA season. Well, guess what? They've got to be back out at the same track for the first race of the NHRA season. So we have the shortest window to be able to get the stuff done versus people that live in other parts of the country.
Yeah, well, like you said, I mean, that's where it comes in handy for us, because we get to build new cars and do that kind of thing. And with you guys, honestly, it does not seem like it's been the couple months that it has. I mean, it seems like
it went by quick. I tell you, it definitely did. But I tell you, the advantage we do have in Southern California, much better surf here than in Montana.
Yeah. Well, yeah, I can see why. I mean, yeah. Well, I had something to ask you, and I'm trying to remember. You got something?
Don't you hate when that happens?
I really do, because it was great. And
yeah, that's how I feel about 16 hours a day. Like I was just ready to ask something, but I forgot what it was.
Yeah, it's actually a more common problem than it should be, which is really...
Yeah, that's a tough deal for a radio show host. You know that, right?
Yeah. Oh, it'll come to me. That's something.
Great. Now I got to go to Home Depot and buy some Malibu lights and change them out.
Yeah, that is true. we've already taken way more time.
Yeah,
than
the
we
more
asked
10
for,
minutes. Sorry.
So,
Yeah, wait till you get the invoice from this interview, huh?
yeah.
Yeah, no joke.
Well, listen, I'll extend this promise. When you remember what it was that you forgot, we can do that next interview.
All right, I am down for it.
Sounds good.
Sounds like a plan to me.
All right, gentlemen. Best of luck out there in the high country.
Awesome.
Right, absolutely. Sorry we kept bothering you, but
Yeah, sorry about that.
yeah, I'm glad we finally got this worked out. So thank you so
Well,
much.
you
for
guys
coming
are
on
you
today.
guys are very apologetic. I like that. No, I just I can't wait. It's hard to believe after all this time that we're 4 days away from firing up engines in competition. I know we just got back from Phoenix testing, but it's not the same thing. There's no trophies. There's no points in testing.
Yeah.
Now when we go to Pomona, it matters. And for me, it's kind of double special because I literally live 30 miles from the racetrack. It's my home track, and I spent so much time there as an instructor for the Frank Hawley Drag School that that place is a second home to me. So also for you guys, with the new NHRA television production and airing it on Fox Sports, I think you could literally claim that this is the next era of NHRA drag racing. I think there's going to be a lot of big and positive changes, specifically in the television, and finally getting some consistency to the air time so people aren't coming home and missing the coverage or their DVR timer runs out. So I'm very much looking forward to seeing what little nuances have been changed with the television staff here.
I'm really excited. I think it's just awesome because I'm one of those people that really wants to make NHRA bigger. And I like seeing things, especially drag racing, get bigger. And I really like that they're doing... I'm excited about the whole 17 event, the live events. And so we're excited.
Yeah, it's definitely going to be, like I said, I think you could say this is a new era for us. And I'm hoping that what this does is open our sport up to more people. Because at the end of the day, the television can't shake your house. You don't smell the nitro burn in your eyes in a wonderful way. It doesn't pound your chest when they're going 300 miles an hour down the grandstands. But if you can portray some of that on TV, I'm hoping some of these people say, you know what, I'm going to get up off the couch and I'm going to attend a race next time it's in my town. Because our sport is one that once you see it in person, you're going to be hooked for life.
Yeah. When I went down in Denver and saw you guys in 2012, it's definitely something that you won't forget, and it's a thrill.
Hey, I like that. I won that race. Denver 2012. Beat Courtney Force in the final. You're just making me feel good all over today,
I do
man.
remember that, actually, yeah. It was like, that was a fun weekend. That was my first NHRA event, and it was a blast.
Yeah, no, I mean, when you see this deal in person, I liken it to a rock concert. You got a little AM radio with a 3-inch speaker, and you're listening to Kashmir by Led Zeppelin on it. And then you go sit in the 7th row live at a concert. They're both Led Zeppelin, but they're universes apart in what the experience is. NHRA drag racing, when you're sitting in the stands or in the pits listening and watching these cars, it's just absolutely unbelievable.
It's mind-blowing. I like telling people...
I concur.
My
mind's been blown several times.
Yeah. I like telling people that that what you drive is a 10,000 horsepower beast, and they don't believe me. And then I show them, and they're just like, "What was that?"
No, I think that our sport almost defies physics. I think that if you try to describe it to people, they'll think you had one too many Jack Daniels shots. And then you drag them out to a drag race, like, oh my God, it's actually true.
Yeah.
A piston engine car, wheel driven, can accelerate from 0 to 300 in less than 4 seconds. The numbers just boggle the mind, but when you see it in person, you're like, I had no idea something like this was possible.
Yeah. All right, last question I got, and it just popped in my head.
You got it.
It's not the question, but it's the last one I've got.
It's a question, right?
What's that? Yeah, it's a question.
It's not the, but it's a question, right?
Yeah, exactly. What do you think? What's your opinion on? Because it was questioned a couple weeks ago on NHRA going possibly back to the full quarter mile.
I don't see it happening. I mean, there's so much stuff that gets kicked around in rumors and whatnot. And here's the thing. I'm a purist. I'm a historian. Our sport was founded on the quarter mile. It's funky having 2 different finish lines. Mm-hmm. I understand all that. Here's the problem, though. if you go back to quarter-mile racing right now and didn't touch the cars, because our cars are 180 pounds heavier minimum weight than they were in 2006, and they're running faster. Well, you're going to get rid of 6 of the racetracks because the shutdown areas aren't long enough. And first on that list is going to be Pomona, which is the one on tour, tied with Indy, that has the most longevity. They've been running there since 1961. So you either got to cross those off the list, or if you do go back to the quarter mile, you're going to have to slow us way, way down. So what's the lesser of two evils? Leave us at 1,000 foot where the funny cars just went 331 miles an hour, or go back to quarter mile and they're going to run 295 miles per hour. And I got to tell you, either way, you probably can't lose. But right now, I think the racing is closer 1,000 foot. I think you're seeing more cars make it to the finish line. So as much as I wasn't a huge fan of it, I completely understood why NHRA did it, and it really kind of fixed a lot of issues. Mm-hmm. So my personal opinion, I think we're here to stay for the time being.
We've just never asked that question, and it popped in my head, and so I'm glad I did, because I've never heard anyone else's opinion on it, especially drivers. And so...
Yeah, you remember, you can't have everything. There's not going to be the good old days, because right now our cars are so much quicker than in 2008 when we went to the 1,000-foot course, and they're heavier. We've had more safety equipment mandated on them. We've had more oil containment devices mandated on them. We've got bigger and thicker chassis tubes mandated on them, and all of that has raised the minimum weight up. And basically why I'm telling you this is that means it takes a longer distance to slow these cars down. So I set the record at the quarter mile at 333 miles an hour. You can't send us back there with the cars that are 120, 140 pounds heavier now and think that they're going to safely slow them down at a racetrack like Pomona. Right. So that's why I'm saying the lesser of two evils, just keep us at 1,000 foot.
All right. Well, like I said, that was my last question. Katie, you got any last ones?
No, I'm going to let our guest go here.
All right.
Okay, you guys are going to make me go to work, man. I'm going to Home Depot, get my military discount, and checking stuff off my honey-do list. All right, gentlemen, shout out to your fans and come say hi. And if you want to support a great cause, do that $100 donation, and I'll give you a coin that just came right out of the race car.
Well, we want to say a huge shout-out to Jack Beckman.
Absolutely.
We've been having, we've been trying to get him on the air for a couple of months now.
Yeah, and like every week, we're like, next week we'll have Jack Beckman on.
Yeah. Anyway, I want to say, like I said, a huge shout out to Jack Beckman.
Me too.
And why?
What?
Okay, well the clock stopped for a minute, and so I was really concerned. Anyway, Jack, I knew that he was in the military, but maybe I didn't. I don't know.
What?
Anyway,
it's one of those things that, but you just, forget.
Yeah. So, but thank you, Jack, for coming on and speaking with us. Especially just coming through us.
Yeah.
The way you did. And we're apologizing for bugging you on your,
okay.
on your
randomly quick, if you would watch those movies I gave you 2 weeks ago, they would have been there, and that would not have happened, because that box is bigger than that crack. This is all your fault.
Anyway, so on a better random note, but thanks, Jack Beckman, and hopefully, I plan on doing this again with Jack. I like doing interviews multiple times. What? I know, I can't get them, sorry. I haven't even watched the first one you gave me yet.
Dude.
I'm sorry.
It's been 2 weeks.
I'll do it this weekend.
You better.
Actually, I'll probably do it tomorrow night.
Bring them over when you come over and watch.
Alright, sounds good. Yeah, so we're excited, and hopefully, what are you doing? Hopefully, Jack Beckman can what?
No.
Sorry, I'm organizing your movies. Hopefully, Jack Beckman can go home with the trophy from Pomona.
We're hoping so. Looked fast in spring training. He actually had 3 of the top 10 times.
He did. He was moving. What are you doing?
Trying to get these movies, you fruit.
Let's just do it in a few minutes.
Fine.
Anyway, so extreme, once again, shout out to Jack.
Yep, thank you, Jack Beckman.
And I don't know, I am just extremely happy that this all worked out, and we were able to get him on. I know it's not Wednesday, so you guys can't give us crap about that, but
No, you can't.
I'm okay with that.
Yeah. We'll be back. Are we still going live on Sunday?
Yes, we are going live on Sunday.
All right.
I will probably not be here or at your house. That is Saturday till later.
Okay.
Because I guess we have a funeral to go to. So,
Sad.
but it's gonna be like a quick one.
Quick funeral. Those are the best guys.
I know. So I don't even know who it is.
Guys, you know what that means? Tyler Jackson's going to be here on Saturday night. He has to watch NASCAR.
Oh no. No, I'm thinking NHRA qualifying.
It's not on until like 1 a.m., so
Good point.
sucks to be you.
Well, what do you got? I think we did a really, really good
I
job.
think that was our best interview.
I agree. And we didn't even follow any of the questions we wrote down,
No, we did not.
which was awesome.
Yeah.
So we'll save these for a later date.
We had literally like 3 pages of random questions and articles and stuff because we were planning on doing like an hour interview because our show is an hour, and then
I planned on 45 minutes.
yeah,
But
and then
we were close. We
yeah.
got what? I think almost 30.
Yeah, 35-ish.
A little over that.
Yeah.
So that was exciting. I think it was great.
It was good. It was a great interview. We'll publish it later. If you're listening live, this will be back up soon because we're going to take it down and edit it.
Yeah, we
So,
gotta
before
we gotta
send
take
it
out
to our people.
yeah we gotta take out her name and number before
Yeah.
before we send it to them and realize what we did. So, but I'm gonna buy one of those coins when I'm at the U.S. Nationals.
Dude, I might too.
You should come with me.
I should.
You should.
I should.
Let's go
All
right now.
All right.
We're
We're gonna be waiting in line for a while. I'm here for the U.S. Nationals. Okay, gates open in about 8 months.
Yeah, that's okay. 7 actually. So, but I think the interview was fun. I had a lot of fun doing it.
Me too.
Learned a lot of things I didn't know.
Yeah, me too. I went to the Jack Beckman Historical Library here in Billings, and that's not true. I went on Wikipedia, and yeah, I learned a lot of cool stuff.
I like I think my favorite part about him and his whole team is that they raise so much money for the Infinite Heroes and the veterans. I really do. I think that is absolutely outstanding that they do that, you know?
Yeah.
And so
Yeah, I mean, he's everywhere. He's with Infinite Hero. He's an advocate for a cancer organization.
which is really, really cool.
Yeah.
Another real quick topic, it's not really off the topic, but it works.
Chemotherapy, Myths
What?
or Facts campaign with Jack Beckman, cancer survivor.
I think one of the coolest things that he told us tonight was that he's kind of like us. You know, he didn't start with the extremely rich family.
Yeah, that was
And
pretty awesome.
he doesn't have the last name. You know, he doesn't have that. And so he started just like me and Taylor are. He started with running just high school class. Well, he ran sportsman, but same difference.
Yeah.
And that's where he went from there, you know. He worked for it. And I have the drive to do it, whatever it takes to go. And it's not going pro. I just want to drive the nitro cars.
Yeah.
I want to actually be able to race against Jack Beckman, Tony Schumacher, Larry Dixon, even though he's not racing this year. It's okay. And I want to be able to make friendships with these guys. Like he said, you know, I mean,
Ow.
like he said, one of the coolest things that he gets to do is have the friendships that he does.
Yeah. So, it's just great stuff from our friend Jack Beckman.
Yeah, Well, it was funny because I emailed him today. I was like, "Hey, I know things are really crazy because they have 3 days till they're running the tracks."
And he's just chilling at Home Depot.
Yeah, he's like, "I'm going to Home Depot." We're like, Jack Beckman."
It's like when we call Tony Schumacher and he's like, washing dishes.
Yeah, I just like, you know, you hear in the bad thing. I know some drivers are those people that are just, "Hey, what are you doing? I'm John Force."
Yeah.
You know, and throwing his name out. He's not like that. I don't know. Actually, I've never talked to him.
He'd break the phone speakers from yelling all the time.
He would. But I like how down to earth the guys are. I really do. Like, Jack is so, he called me because he was like, hey, I don't know what's going on, but let's knock this out. And, and Ron Capps, we talked to him when he was in Billings, and we told him what we wanted to do. He's like, yeah, it just took a little bit longer time to make it happen, but we got it.
We did.
I think that it's just the coolest thing, talking to the people that are so down to earth. It is absolutely awesome, and they're so nice.
Yeah, they are. I mean, here's the thing. That's a pretty rare opportunity. Because, we all know me. I like NASCAR, right?
What?
But you can't just go up to, Jeff Gordon and be hey, we want to talk to you.
He'd be like, sorry.
Yeah.
Can't happen.
It's not going to happen.
We don't know you. You're not a big name people.
Yeah, you can't call Peyton Manning, hey, can I interview you? It's not going to happen. So.
Peyton's got a whole lot of people calling him right now. Speaking of.
If I was to talk about the Super Bowl,
no, we're not doing
it would not be appropriate for the show, so we're not going to.
I agree.
Not going to do it.
Nope, not happening. Anyway, so Pomona, 3 days.
I'm pretty pumped.
I am too.
I'll be there. Plane leaves tonight at 11:46.
On the dot.
Pending delays. So.
Well, darn, I wish I would have known you were going. I would have gone too.
Well, it was just kind of a...
Must be nice.
Yeah, it was awesome.
What?
No, Dino Don has your keys.
Oh, okay.
They went to get food. I think they're bringing us some.
Oh, I hope so. I mean...
Wow, okay.
Way to mooch off Taylor's parents. Oh, they're bringing me food. Oh, awesome. Me too.
Wow.
It's kind of an every night occurrence.
It is, too.
Oh, every week occurrence.
I feel like it's Wednesday now.
I know. I do too. At least it's Thursday.
It's
see?
Monday.
See? Point proven. Point proven. But
tomorrow is Tuesday.
I know the days of the week. Hey, did we post the links on Facebook and stuff?
I don't think so.
Oh, why? Make sure to do that.
Oh, yeah, we will, but
Oh,
we'll get it.
Anyway, I like how he's like, yeah, it's 81 degrees here. And I'm like, wow, it's 61 here, and we're loving it.
Yeah, I got in the car today after school, and I was like, I'm hot. And then I'm like, wait a minute, I'm hot. This is good.
Yeah, I know. I rolled the windows down and took my sweatshirt off and cruised around.
Good times.
I didn't cruise around. I drove to work, but...
And then, sprinted to my house.
Yeah, I was running fast.
He works just down the block, so... He got off at 5:59, he's like, ah!
I don't work down the block. I work literally across town.
Yeah.
I made it here in 10 minutes. That's pretty good.
It's pretty illegal, too.
I wasn't speeding.
Really?
All right, maybe 10 miles an hour over, but hey, that's not bad.
It's actually not.
Not for me.
Not for you. We've been going 110 down 35 speed limit streets.
That never happened.
No, it hasn't. Doesn't mean it won't.
Well, it's true. What was your favorite Super Bowl commercial?
The one when it was over and I could go home. I don't know. None of them were really good.
Mm-mm.
The one with the sheep was kind of
the sheep was interesting.
But
oh, you know what one drives me nuts?
The stupid monkey one was stupid.
Yeah, exactly. That's the one I was thinking of.
Yeah.
Puppy monkey biggie.
And it was for Kickstarter. Kickstarter, you can do better.
That's exactly. I literally yelled at the TV and said, "Come on, Mountain Dew, you can do better."
Yeah.
Could have had me be on there, even though I drank 3 Mountain Dews last night.
Wow.
I'm not dead.
Okay, so our loyal DRW listener Sarah from Montana, she was at our Super Bowl party last night with her
she was a photographer.
She got fired. She sucks photographing. Well, she
doesn't suck.
She's a good photographer.
She's a really good
doesn't
photographer.
show up.
Yeah, she just doesn't show up for the job.
Yeah. So she had her date, basically. She wouldn't say it was a date, but it was Ryan there, okay? Now, he's in some random band, and he actually knows Jason from Breaking Benjamin.
You know who I know? I know Chris Cale from Five Finger Death Punch.
Okay, well, we don't... Well, yeah, we do.
Ah! Oh, sorry.
But it gets better,
Chair
okay?
collapsed.
Zoltan from Five Finger Death Punch is producing this Ryan dude's band's album.
I like this Ryan dude.
Me too. And he was like, I would hook you guys up for Benjamin, but I'm not going to be in town. I'm like, so?
You can still hook us up.
Right? Yeah, but the reason I got on that
I don't know where'd that come from.
Because he said they were trying to get sponsored by Mountain Dew for 3 years. It just never happened.
Mountain Dew's awesome.
Yeah, he's like, did you know Zoltan has a monster truck? I'm like, yep.
Dude, we know Zoltan.
Yeah.
Not really, but we know that
We
he's
know Chris.
awesome. We know Chris Gale.
And we know Chris. Chris knows Zoltan, so we know Zoltan.
Perfect.
Yep.
I like it. I love it. We want Five Finger Death Punch to do the Super Bowl commercials. Or the...
Well, the commercials would work, too.
Those two.
Mainly the halftime show. That was the worst part.
That was... Yeah.
I was, like, actually pretty close to falling asleep at that point. Like, this... that was... Yeah. Just,
Yeah.
Here on my wall in the studio, I have Left Shark from last year's Super Bowl or halftime.
2 years ago.
It was last year.
No, it wasn't.
It was.
No, it was not.
It was.
No, it was not. It was 2 years ago because I was in Australia.
No.
Yes.
You were in Australia in February, huh?
Wait a minute.
You are high.
I'm like, wait a second. I might be right.
Last year's Super Bowl halftime show was Katy Perry,
Oh,
and they
was
had
it?
the sharks dancing,
Hold on.
and the left shark was, like, drunk.
No, that was 2 years ago.
And he's on my wall in memorial. Then who was last year?
Beyonce. And...
No, Beyonce was 2 years ago. Beyonce was like 3 years ago.
No.
Yeah, because it was a Super Bowl that the power went out. Remember that?
2000 and...
It was like 3 years ago.
What?
15.
15 Super Bowl.
Halftime. It's Katy Perry.
No, it's
I
not.
guarantee you it is. Because I remember. Because our marketing manager
Actually, you
was
are
like,
probably right because you did.
I
print that
hate
picture.
Katy Perry.
and I was like, this is a good show.
I don't want commercials. Oh, I did put commercial.
I don't want commercials. Why is Google search showing me commercials when I Google
Actually,
commercials?
you might be right. Yeah, you are right.
Of course I'm right. I'm always right.
You're never right.
I just was. Yep. So that happened.
I need it. This is funny.
What?
Kurt's like, who's that? Hey,
Who's
Kurt. Kurt. What? Kurt.
What?
Ah. Mm. That was
What was
literally
that?
the weirdest sentence ever. Kurt. All right, Kurt White's my boss, and apparently, he's got to be joking because he drag races with me, and he's like, "Who's Jack Beckman?"
What?
I think it's because I didn't exactly clarify. But what? I'm Kurt. You know who Jack is. Hold on here. I'm just okay. Maybe I'm not.
What is your
I
problem?
need to send Kurt a photo. Anyway, I got nothing. All right. Well,
Yeah. This is our show.
at least it was a show. All right.
That is true.
The last month and a half, maybe. Well, how long, longer than that? It's been what?
Ever since like the off.
Ever since drag
3
racing.
months.
Okay, here's what goes down. Is we got the new contract with Mixler right after
the
the
first-
weekend after
Yeah.
NHRA was over, which we got an hour show instead of a half-hour show, and so, well, we had nothing to talk about since the off season, and so this was awesome because we actually had Jack Beckman to talk to us, and what a great lead up. It's the first show
Yeah.
before the NHRA Winternationals. I'm excited.
I'm excited. It's awesome.
It feels like Wednesday.
It kind of does, which sucks because tomorrow's only. At least we have Friday off.
Yeah, Friday's off. And guess what we're doing Friday?
What?
Working on the race car.
Cool.
Our race car.
Our race car. I get to drive it. It's my race car.
Speaking of, I bought the belts for it today.
You did?
The second set of safety belts.
Yeah.
I got to send the other ones in and get recertified, but that's only about $50. So I can live with that.
Nice. So that's incredible. We're gonna sign off pretty soon here, but first, we're gonna be live this Sunday.
We are going to be live. Don't forget to text our hotline.
Yeah, we're getting calls in the middle of the Jack Beckman interview. That's what
Were
the
we?
beeping was.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, calls to the hotline. Couldn't answer because we were kind of talking to Jack Beckman.
Just randomly hang up.
Yeah, bye, Jack.
That'd be good. I think I'm glad this interview went smooth. Well, mainly because the Larry Dixon, and we should have told him this because this was funny.
That was horrible.
When we did Larry Dixon's interview, we forgot to hit the record button halfway through the show. So guess who messed that one up?
You.
Me, being not computer guy. And on top of that, he was like, that sucks. That was
Yeah, you
literally
could tell.
literally
He was
his
just like,
thing.
no.
And we don't have a recording of it because we didn't record it. And so
Yeah.
I would love to play that part and just be like, Oh, that sucks. I was like, wow, I hope we're not that bad to talk to.
Yeah.
But
Like us on Facebook.
yes, 1,000th like on Facebook gets a free Drag Racing Weekly T-shirt, which are just about done. And
That is true.
We're going to be doing decals too, so you'll be able to check those out as well.
Yeah.
And so,
Yeah.
I think once we have some decals made, I think we should send them to the drivers.
Yeah.
Wouldn't that be kind of cool? That'd be kind of cool.
Yeah.
Not sponsorship or anything. Just be like,
Yeah.
hey, this is a thank you for coming on the show.
Yeah.
All right. So, Tito, tell them the rest of the news.
Well, here in the news this week, we got,
How do we go to this?
we're going to have more details coming. What do you want?
Won't wash it.
Well, there's a reason I put it on the desktop. We're going to have more details on that soon for a live, it'll probably be split into parts because we can only do an hour in an NHRA event.
Good
It's
point.
way longer.
Yeah.
So we'll see what happens there. But, yep, that's exciting. Tune in. We'll have more details soon. This will be up on the iTunes feed later. We'll edit and...
Kurt knows who Jack Beckman is. He was just giving me a hard time.
There's Kurt
That
for
doesn't
you.
surprise me. I asked him for Friday off, and he goes, "What?"
He's Darth Vader.
Well, I think that'll do it for tonight. We're done. We're signing off. We'll probably be back Sunday, maybe Wednesday. We don't know, but we'll be live on Sunday for sure. So check Twitter and Facebook for updates on that. And we are out of here. Have a good night, guys.